One wrong decision at retirement could mean 17% of your super going to the ATO instead of your kids. And most families don't realize this until it's too late, or they have the lawyer barking at them on death's bed. In this episode, Roger is back with us to talk about the final stages of financial planning, from structuring your retirement income to navigating aged care and eventually passing on your wealth through smart succession strategies. Whether you're planning ahead for yourself or supporting your aging parents through their retirement, this conversation will give you a framework to avoid the most common traps, inheritance headaches, and aged care surprises that catch many families off guard. Every stage of life, from the moment you start earning to even the end of life, there is a role for a financial advisor. The scope and the intensity of that could be very different depending on your needs at different times.
When you get to significant changes in your life, like divorce, married, baby, death, you'll have significant lives change. The legislation says when someone happens to your client, that's when you got to do a new statement of advice, because everything in their world changes. That original piece of advice is probably no longer valid. It's a massive life-changing event, could potentially change your path and your outlook on life. So we need to reassess that, start again.
Here's what we'll cover. What doctors in their mid-career and late career need to know how to prepare for aged care decisions and retirement transition, either for themselves or their parents. How to use structures like recontribution strategies, family trusts, tax-free estate transfers to protect multi-generational wealth. The financial and emotional cost of delaying succession planning, and what real families have lost by leaving it too late. This is one of the most overlooked phases of financial planning, but it's also where some of the biggest gains and protections can be had. And now on to our last episode in our series of 3 with Roger. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another installment of the Investing for Doctors podcast. I'm your host, Dr. B, and we have Roger back again today.
Hello, B.
All right. So this is now the 3rd episode of this series. We're talking about the life cycle of a doctor and how a financial advisor like yourself can assist in one's life journey.
Well, that life journey applies to anyone, not necessarily doctors, but yeah, we're on the topic of doctors, but yeah, everyone has a life cycle.
Yeah.
But yeah, getting back to the retirement part, I mean.
Yeah, now we're getting to the 3rd and last sort of episode in this series. And it's really focusing on towards the, not the end of life, but the late career, end of working life, and also the end of life sort of aspects. You know, I mean, the 2 major topics we're going to talk about is sort of retirement and also succession planning.
Yep.
And you know, if you're
which leads into aged care.
Aged care and death and passing on.
That's it.
As well. And so most of our listeners who are sort of tech savvy enough to listen to podcasts and that sort of thing would generally be in middle age. So why does this really apply to them? I'll tell you why, because you will probably have to go through this with your parents.
Yep.
And as far as I know, most people will have parents, and hopefully
that are still around. Yeah.
That are still around, exactly. And this really gets the conversation going for the listeners and also their parents, and how they can guide them along the way. Because I can wager the majority of the listeners' parents are probably may not have gone through this, or may not have thought about this and all the quirks, pitfalls, and different things that they need to know. Yeah,
well, as you know, we've had some parents of members of the IFD Facebook group come through for that very reason, and which has made them sort of had the midlife practitioners take notice of what their parents are going through and things that they've got to look out for. Like, I didn't know anything about retirement. They're like, it's educating them, surprising them, which actually makes them realize, gee, I've got to look at that eventually.
Yeah, I mean, it could be in 20 years, but you've got to, what the end outcome is.
That's right. Because you see your parents and you take notice because it's your parents.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so again, getting to your retirement phase, I mean, again, even in your 40s, as you say, I mean, I remember I was 40, like 60, and even that's a young age to retire too, by the way, 60. But when I hit, the 50s, I can actually see 60 and 65. I know.
Some light at the end of that tunnel.
I can see it. I'm going to get there. I can
Yeah.
see it. So you start to take notice of people around you and what they're going through. And again, especially if your parents, you will take notice, and you'll take a vested interest because it's actually going to affect you down the track, because it will affect your inheritance.
Exactly.
Eventually too, but you want best for your parents as of course as they're alive in their twilight years to have a quality life and what have you. But yeah, there's a lot of traps that you got to look at when it comes to the retirement phase. I shouldn't say too much traps, but there's a very good retirement system in this country. Like I said, the government says if you save for your retirement, you can have your money back tax free, but and again, there's strategies and products around which actually can allow you to still access some age pension, even if you've got too many assets or income. So again, there's a juggling act that you've got to play with between assets and liabilities. Well, hopefully you shouldn't have liabilities when you're in retirement phase. Well, some do, but generally speaking, that's the objective, is to have none. But then, trying to maximize your retirement income assets, as well as being entitled to some age pension and concession cards and all those types of things. I mean, there are some people who just got way too much money. A good problem to have. But, there are ways that we can get people otherwise would not get age pension to get them some age pension, which gives them some concessions. At a bit of, some people come and say, I just want $1. I've paid my taxes all my life. I want $1. I want that concession card.
That concession card. Makes
And
a huge
as they
difference.
stand today, they can't get it.
Yeah.
Because they've got too many assets.
Yeah.
So there are ways that you can structure things which you can actually lower their assets test to get them under the threshold to be able to get some as well. So again, that's a juggling act, and you've got to have a planner who deals in retirement planning quite often. And there's always more innovative products coming out, and they're changing all the time.
Yeah.
Just like everything changes. And there are some clients that we come across who in retirement and have been for some time that come across to us, they got some of our old products, and we have to know how those old products work, because some of them.
Because they've been in it for so long.
Yeah. And they still got those status because they're grandfathered.
Yeah.
And it's things like you don't get rid of those because you might make them get no pension now.
Yeah.
So you just got to be aware of all those sorts of things. So there's quite a bit you got to look at. And to me, that's pretty much, even though there's fun structuring with the accumulators and what have you, but with the retirement, I like that because I like seeing clients seeing that they have certainty of income at a level of income which is guaranteed for life.
Yeah.
I don't want to go into the guaranteed path yet, but age pension is guaranteed.
Yeah.
But so there are ways you can guarantee your assets to last till you die.
Hopefully have some left over for
and
you.
hopefully have some. But the kids, your house is not going to provide you income. But kids are going to get that anyway.
Yeah.
But then you may need that to be able to pay for a retirement home as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like a RAD.
Yeah.
What have you.
And I guess it depends on how you, structure that, because, we talk about retirement as if it's one phase of life. There's a multi-phase to that. There is the reducing the amount of work that you're doing.
Yeah.
So you might not be fully retired.
That's correct.
And, if you're under the accumulation age or hit the, was that the accumulation?
The conditional release.
Yeah, the condition for release age, then you can actually start accessing your super if you want to.
Yeah,
And,
that's another stage we've sort of overlooked.
Yeah.
It's called transition to retirement.
Yeah, TTR. Yeah.
So that can be like, if you want to call it stage one, if because it can be. I was talking to my doctor this morning, actually, my GP, and he's retiring at the end of the year, and he's flat out at the moment. And I said, "You looking forward to it?" And retirement at the end of the year, and he said, all of a sudden I'm flat out. All of a sudden I'll be doing nothing. And I said, you'll probably find that a bit of a shock. Bang, zero, doing nothing. And that's where a transition to retirement can come in, is where you can, hence the word, the transition to retirement. So you could, do 2-3 days a week as your profession, just back off. But then you're missing out those 2 days or 3 days of pay or income that you're used to getting. You can supplement that with your age pension, your super, I should say, not age pension, super. Into a pension phase and supplement that income, so you got the same amount of income, but working less. And that income that you will get from your account-based pension at 60 is tax-free.
Yeah.
So it's a win-win. But then you can scale back up again if you want. It will scale back down. So you're not locked in. So there's a lot of things that you can do, and that's called a transition to retirement.
Yeah.
And again, as I was saying, I was quite shocked when he said I'll end up doing nothing. I'm thinking, oh wow, that actually will be.
That's scary.
That is scary. It actually made me go back, took me back a little bit, thinking, wow, because I see how busy he is. I mean, all you guys like that, crazy busy. I'm thinking that's probably not healthy.
No,
mentally it's probably not healthy.
It's not, because then you take yourself out of the social sort of structure that you're used to, and a lot of people have difficulty coping with that, because your professional life is probably one of the bigger social circles that one has, and I think time and time again, the statistics show that if you're a socially engaged person, you live happier.
Well, you would be being a doctor. You have to be. People.
Yeah. Well, unless you're a pathologist and just deal with tissue.
Like the accounts and financial planning.
Yeah, exactly. So, often people would sort of go into something else. For example, my dad, even though he's fully, he recently fully retired from the university, but then he got a very part-time consulting gig, and he's spending the rest of his time doing photography. Yeah. So, that's that nice transition. I mean, there's overseas.
Knowing that he's got that security of income.
Yeah.
Super.
And he's based in Singapore, so the retirement is done differently. Yeah. But still, it's
same sort of concept.
Very similar concept. So you get that transition, and obviously during that transitional phase, there's also various ways you can sort of move money around to optimize tax, and then also from a succession planning perspective, you can I'm aware that you can withdraw money and then tax free, and then contribute back into super. As a non-concessional contribution. And
that's called a recontribution strategy. The reason why that can be valuable is because so you're a couple and you're both in retirement, got your own pension accounts. This is not age pension, this is your super pension accounts. And if in the eyes of the ATO, you are tax financial dependents, no matter what, what. So if this person if the husband dies, everything goes to her from your super. It's all tax free, all the components, because there's a couple of different components. Now, what I mean by that is, if your super goes to a non-dependent spouse, a child or person, they can be taxed at 17%. Now, that's on the tax component. So there's two components in super. There's a taxed element and untaxed element.
Yeah. So the taxed one will be the ones where you've paid, your 15% or your 30% if you have different.
Yeah, and that gets taxed again when it goes to a non-financial dependent dependent.
Yeah, that's the taxable component.
It's a tax, but and that's what happens if you take your super out. Yeah. Okay, then it comes out to you, and this is age restrictions, age within age brackets. You can take your super out, or your pension out tax-free, and you can put it back in. There's limits you can put back in.
Yes.
To super.
Yes.
So now you've put it in what they call, as you mentioned, a non-concessional contribution, which means now that's a tax-free element.
Yeah.
Or an untaxed element. So that will contribute no contributions tax. All right. So that means that for estate planning in the transition, if your spouse is gone and it's just you, then going to your 3 or 4, whatever you got, children who are financially non-dependent, it will go to them tax-free. Yeah. So that's more of an estate planning strategy. It's like some people, they go, I don't care, I'm not going to know. But then, they go, oh, that'll be handy, knowing that they're not paying tax, because,
Yeah. I mean, it's a simple.
It's very simple.
It's a very simple step.
But very effective, very tax effective.
And you can essentially, I think the annual limit is what? 120? 120. And then you can do 3 years carry forward. So you can basically
360.
Almost watch 360 of 17%.
Yes. But also what person. You can do in July, you can do your 120, right?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. In June, June do your 120, and then July do your 360, so you can get more in.
Yeah. Depending on how you time all that stuff.
Yeah. So that's time is important as well. So that's a very good strategy. It's called a recontribution strategy. And of course, it's age permitting up to 65. 75. You can do it. Yeah. You don't need to be the work test for that. Yeah. But claiming a tax deduction you do. But anyway.
So I mean, that's just one example.
That's one example.
All sorts of weird and wonderful things that can be done at the retirement phase. And I remember reading the study material. I was just like, oh my God, this is so much more fanciful than the accumulation phase.
Oh yeah.
And so I think, as you get older and older, the value of what you can do as a financial, advisor, planner, just goes up and up and up. And there's almost this idea of the family office in a way, as in the family sort of planner, because that's what all the very high net wealth people do. And I think that's a concept that we probably need to bring into the medical sphere, because we are all very high earners, but it's not automatic that we would think like that.
And it's not automatic your children are going to earn as much as you do.
Exactly.
They might not be interested, and money might not mean anything to them, but you want to make sure they're financially looked after.
Yeah. And then have that investment sort of carry forward for multiple generations.
Correct.
So it's about really having that family asset.
Yeah.
Family.
And family relationships. So like I have relationships with the grandparents and the kids, and I know their little kids. Only because I know because they bring their kids to the office sometimes and they can play. But my daughter's met some of my clients' kids because you do become quite familiar with them and friendly with them, because like I said, you minimum you review the financial situation every year minimum. But during the year, you're on the phone to them all the time. You get to know them quite well, and you get to know the families well, and that creates. It feels great for me to know that a family trusts me like that, and what I can do for a family. So yeah, there's a lot in that, and family practices are quite popular.
Yeah, but I just feel like that's not something that is actively discussed or plastered on social media or anything like that. It's very much. Those who know, and
we don't know,
the majority don't. Right? Yeah. And so I think this is one of the things I want to bring up. This is something that we can actually do for not just doctors and dentists, but really anyone. Yeah. But I think you need to have quite a bit of multi-generational asset for this to make sense from that perspective, because the cost of doing some of these things can outweigh, can be quite heavy initially. Yeah,
look, as you say, multi-generational is always a good thing. But as I said, setting up, like if you do a recontribution strategy, although you might not care if it's taxed or whatever, but you got the kids around the table saying, hey, I care if I get taxed.
Yeah.
So then, they get involved and they start to understand and learn how the retirement process and planning process works, and what the tips and tricks and all those things are, which makes them just think, ooh, I better start rearranging or starting to take notice of what my structure, and is it optimized? So should I start looking at that too? Because I've got a couple of kids.
Yeah. So
that's how it does work, because you got to see what the flow on effect can be down the multi generations.
Yeah.
By the way you structure things from way up the top.
Yeah, and clearly Australia is going through one of the largest phases of intergenerational wealth transfer.
Correct.
At this stage.
Billions.
And it has to be, you could lose a lot to the ATO if you don't do it right.
You don't do it right, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one simple way to fix it.
Yeah.
Again, through property, not just discretionary trusts or family trusts, same thing. You know how there's issues of transferring assets. There can be capital gains issues, as we know.
Yeah, stamp duty.
Yeah.
If they're properties.
So having assets in a trust, and again, you don't own the trust, as we spoke last time, that you sit up as the trustee, or you and your wife or whatever it is, or a corporate trustee is probably better. Not probably, but it is better. Corporate trustee, and then that controls the trust. So you can have multiple beneficiaries down the bottom. But instead of, and just say when you're passing on, all you need to do is just pass on or transfer to your son, your daughter or your son, whoever you want to transfer your assets onto, or the control onto. You transfer the control. You put them up as directors as the trustee company, and they control the trust, and they can still dictate who's the beneficiaries are. So they control it. So there's no capital gain issues with that. And it's assets protection again to a point. So
or the other thing is that it might be to a nephew or niece for the. There are doctors who are bachelors and, bachelorettes that just are single and have no kids.
Yeah.
We do see that from time to time.
And I've got lawyer clients like that. Yeah.
So you what are you going to do with that asset afterwards? I mean, you can donate it, but again, that needs to be planned.
Yeah. Yes.
Right? And I guess that's also the part of where we get into the estate planning aspects of things, which I guess goes hand in hand with sort of retirement and financial planning, because
it's all financial planning.
Yeah,
it's all planning, and if it's around money, it's financial planning. Yeah, like I said, I've got single, middle-aged female lawyers and what have you, and that are planning to have kids and what have you, but they've got nieces and nephews, and they want to make sure that they're looked after financially and protected. assets and their assets protected. Yeah, so there's lots of ways you can do it, but it's something that does need to be addressed, and you've got to be aware of it.
Yeah.
Or else you can lose a lot of assets and pay or pay a lot to the ATO, which no one wants to do that.
Yeah. I'm sure the ATO doesn't like hearing about this.
No, but it's legal, and we're allowed to.
Yeah.
And it's just sensible,
Yeah.
It's not tax evasion; it's just sensible planning.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah. So I guess for the listeners out there whose parents are going through retirement, think about it. Whether you need to enlist an advisor to come and help you in that journey, and also that sort of sets your mind for where you need to be down the track. And I guess I've heard about a lot of interesting cases. You would have heard also or seen some interesting scenarios. Without divulging too much.
Oh, without personal details.
Yeah. But tell us of give us some examples of when it's done well, not done well, disasters, and that sort of thing.
Well, again, getting back to the recontribution strategy and things like that, and especially with SMSFs, they're quite a bit more complex than just your standard retail fund, especially when it comes to estate planning issues or what have you. I remember a lawyer telling us in one of our SMSF specialist days that we have, talking about you got to tell the client, get the client to tell you when they're going to die, so you can take the money out from super before they die. It's like, that's pretty callous. I mean, don't let them die the day after a particular date, or the things like that. It's like they've got to tell you when they're going to die, and when they die, you get them quickly to sign. You go up to their hospital bed and get them to sign to pull all their money out. So you'll save your family a lot of tax.
Oh, with the with the
untaxed elements and things like that.
Yeah.
So and it was quite hilarious when the way he was telling the story. But some story, just things that you got to do if you don't plan for it.
Yeah.
If you don't plan for it, plan for it well ahead. As I said, like you can't be sitting at the deathbed, getting signatures and what have you. You have to make sure that you've thought about these and have these conversations
early.
Because it's quite funny. Like you got to make sure the client tells you which day they're going to die. Whether it's June 30 or July 1 can make a big difference. Things like that. So it's quite silly, but you got to. That's an example of having to plan early.
Yeah.
And plan properly, and like I said, everyone through the chain's got to know through the generations. Like the person who we're talking about is going to die or going to aged care. Again, that's the step back from dying, obviously. But how structuring these assets up front for the person who's potentially going to aged care or what have you? How is that going to affect the next generation, and then how will that affect the next generation? So, and that's why it engages everyone, so you understand just the flow-on effect.
Yeah.
Because
give us an example of that,
this one we're working on. Well, now we had these clients, and I can't say any names or anything, but this is an example of this one we're looking at now. They had these close friends of mine have this situation where the father's gone into a retirement home and the mother's going to help live with them, and they're going to be the carers and what have you, and there's assets transferring and what have you, and They went to someone who just did aged care. Now, I've got to be careful here. Someone who just does aged care, and they brought it back, and we had a look at it, Ashley and I, and they gave about 6 scenarios, and we looked at it, and we thought, hang on, some of that doesn't look right. But what they did was they were just looking at now. What are your options now? What does it mean in 10 years' time? What does it mean to you, the friends of mine? What does it mean to them once these people pass?
Children,
the children once they pass away, because I'm going to.
Yeah.
What does that mean to them? Like as I said earlier, it's the same clients I was talking about. You take a little hit now for the long-term benefit.
Yeah.
Can be take a little hit. I mean by financially.
Yeah.
Which means it paves way for a great financial future and better off for those clients as well as for the kids.
Yeah.
And they didn't have any of that. And we reworked the whole thing and had a different scenario, but some of the numbers weren't quite right. But then, we said, well, it's the same scenario that they recommended, but some of their numbers were wrong. But we said, bottom line is like, if you take a no income now, age pension from now because of your assets and what have you, et cetera, and then when you are no longer being able to be a carer and when that property becomes accessible, then you won't get the carers and that property will become accessible, I should say. How about you let them, because you're going to get it eventually. The kids are going to get the house.
Yeah.
So I said, why don't you just get the mother just to buy the house in your name now, the kids? Okay, because that means it's gifting. It's gifting. For age pension, that means it's deprived for 5 years, so you can't get any age pension. So basically what that means is they're saying you've still got that asset for 5 years. You haven't gifted it, but you have. But they're saying they're classing that you haven't. So you've got 5 years of penalty, if you will. So after 5 years, and then it's clean slate. And that's what made it better for them to do that and take the financial hit now, which is only small compared to the long-term benefits.
Yeah.
That was not demonstrated, because that's a hard decision to say, oh, let's take a financial hit now. Whoa, but what does it mean down at the track? There was none of that.
But today you might have still cash lying around somewhere.
Well, there is lots of cash lying around. There's assets and what have you. But it's, just, I said, that's why I'd mentioned, like, why don't you just transfer the house? You're eventually going to get it now anyway. Why don't you transfer the house into your name? Well, the parent transfer it into the kid's name now. Take the hit now, because then down the track, I know eventually it can be accessible, and it's going to create a lot of headaches down the track when you're going to get the property anyway. So the numbers prove that this is a better strategy. The long-term cash flow projections, there was none of that cash flow projection. So that's why it's very important. That's the example of making sure that you get a aged care advisor that doesn't just give you the numbers now and says, here's a couple of options. And I was quite shocked, actually, when I saw it.
And not just for the person.
But what does it mean to the children? Yeah.
But for the family.
Yeah.
Because holistic planning needs to take account of
intergenerational,
not just what happens today, but what happens tomorrow.
Yeah.
And, what happens given certain scenarios.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, we can't predict the future, but we can plan for it. Yeah.
Cliche, but cliches are true good because they're true.
Yeah.
No, so that's when it can get really tricky, when you start pushing into aged care because of the means test, and you do get the RAD back eventually, but that's something you got to wait for till they die.
So what's the RAD for those that don't understand what that means?
The RAD is the residential deposit. Sorry, residential accommodation deposit. So it's a deposit. It's like buying the villa type of thing, but it's a refundable deposit. No, it's refundable. It's
a death.
Yeah, it's not residential. It's refundable, because at the end when they die, you get that money back, but you don't get any growth on it though.
Yeah. So why does it work like that? I understand it's a lump sum money that goes to
the carer,
the facility, the aged care facility.
Yeah.
And they hold that.
It's a deposit on that property that you're occupying, and of course you get no return on it. But of course they go and invest that, and then keep all the returns.
Exactly.
But they'll give your money back whenever you die, or the estate, I should say.
Yeah.
Whenever you die, and sometimes they keep a percentage of that too, and that can vary the percentage depending on where you go.
Yeah. So if I were really cynical, I would say. I am. I was going to say, so the residential aged care facilities actually just a form of financial entity, because they take in large amounts of deposit and then they use that deposit to earn money elsewhere.
They are providing you a place to live with care facilities around you and caring assistance around you and all that. So there is a service, but we've got to be careful what we say here. But yes, it is a service for the aged care. So there is the caring facilities around. There's nurses. There's
There's all that stuff that's assisting. But if you wanted to do that in a direct way, why can't you just pay rent?
You can.
Yeah,
you can. It's called the aged care package. So the levels 1, 2, 3, 4. That's so. Can't remember. It's not that old really. It's where it allows an aging person to stay home and die. Well, I shouldn't say that, but stay home long before they actually need palliative care. Or whatever. So like my mother, she's on a level 2. Yeah. There's 1, 2, and 3, 4.
Yeah. And it has they allow the aged person to stay at home with additional services done at
additional
home.
Funds to pay for services like nursing, nurses to 1 or 2 twice a week to come and help you. Cleaners, all that type of stuff. Because my mother has a cleaner come in, and you can have people do the shopping for you and all those sorts of things. So it's like being at an aged care facility but at home. But the government will give you that package. It's called the aged care package. It's 4 levels.
Yeah. So
it's over the top of your pension.
Yeah. So my question is that why can't we say I still want to go into a nursing home, right? Because there are other aspects of it. Yeah, that could be.
Well, I've never heard anyone say that though.
Well,
They've always said, I want to stay home, but it gets to a point where it's just,
you can't stay at home.
It's just too much.
Just say if you can't stay at home, you go into a nursing home, right? Why can't I just pay fees for it?
They can. That's the thing. With the government's legislation is recent, where the more you earn, I think it's just come in, was it this year or last year? Where the more you earn, the more assets and the more you earn, the more you pay.
Yeah, but that doesn't make sense.
So it means, no, I know.
Yeah, because it's a fixed service. It's the same service that you're getting, really, irrespective of whether,
Yeah, well, of course, people with money, they're screaming blue murder. It's crazy. I mean, the people who got nothing can get this pretty much the same facilities as the person who's paying for that facility. So it's like subsidizing that person who can't afford it.
Yeah, but in that situation, do they still have to pay the deposit?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's exactly what I mean. It's like, why is it structured in this particular way? And there is no, the nursing homes do not have like a fixed income model. It's all asset tested and income tested. Yeah. And it's just a bit crazy.
Oh, well, it is crazy. And honestly, I couldn't tell you the ins and outs that I can tell you the figures of how to work out the best cash flow and what have you, but how they work those models, honestly, it's the government that came up with that. It's like the more you earn, the more you pay. And that's why, again, pre-planning is very crucial, because you can save your estate lots of money if you know how to transfer assets now and maybe take a hit now, or the way it's structured.
It almost creates this economy for, massaging the numbers, because it makes such a huge difference.
Well, that's what we do.
Yeah.
We massage numbers in any stage of life, and within the rules, legislation, and the products that suit those rules and regulations. So it's just playing the game of chess, if you will, or puzzle, and playing chess at the same time. But honestly, with the aged care, the way that that works, it was a bit of a shock about how that all happens. Like the more you earn, the more you pay, or the more you got, the more you pay, and the less you earn, the less you pay. It's
counterintuitive.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, you would expect everyone to pay the same. If you earn less, then the government comes in and chips in. If you earn more, then that's it. You pay everything yourself.
Oh, it's madness.
Yeah,
it's madness.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't think we can solve these issues, but we can obviously skirt around.
Yes, we can't solve that unless we get Elbow here. I don't think he'll come in.
So anything else that we need to sort of think about towards that later stage? I mean, there's obviously the kids that are growing older, and the grandkids and that sort of thing to look at.
Well, I would think just in our stages, maybe a bit younger than me, is I got an 85-year-old mother, and it's getting, she's needing more and more and more care. So you start looking at what they're going to need, because it's going to get harder and harder and harder, and find out what services and facilities are available. And that's seeing an advisor, doing some research, your own research, not becoming a brain surgeon, but just knowing the basics of understanding, and then seeing someone professional to make sure you don't trip up. And that'll make you take focus of what you're doing and how what you're doing, helping them do, actually benefits you. Trying to be objective, of course, but you're going to get it anyway, but you want to maximize it. Of course, your parents would want you to do that as well, but make sure they've got good care. But then it flows down, well, have I got my affairs structured properly? So you've got to have those conversations. Like, I was listening to the radio, as I told you, I was listening to the radio today on 2GB. They were talking about that. One of the ladies was down in Canberra about this, about that, the aging population and what have you down in Canberra. I'm talking about, she was at Parliament House, and talking about how you have to have these conversations, because a lot of people die without wills.
No advanced care directive.
No, she mentioned advanced care directive. So start looking at it now, and don't put your head in the sand, because it'll bite you on the bum big time. If once all of a sudden it hits you, then you won't know what to do. You'll panic. You'll make mistakes.
Yeah. So in your sort of experience thus far, is it often the parents that come in, or do the children bring the parents in? It's usually
the middle-aged parents, children, I should say, us. Ask us.
Yeah.
What if they're like, I've got a lot of clients in retirement.
Yeah.
And I know their kids, and they are clients too, and the relationship started with the parents.
Yeah.
So now I've got to start thinking, because they're one of my clients, I've got to start thinking about, we're getting close to that. They're all going to start tipping over to the aged care need. Yeah. And I've got to start looking at that as well. But It's the older children who's got the older parents who I don't know, the older clients that I've got, who I don't know their parents. They start asking me about all this. How does all this work? How does their retirement work? I mean, do they have their super structured properly? What's going on with this? So, well, I don't know. I've got to have a look at it all. And then what does that mean for aged care?
Yeah. And then so they are the one. So the middle-aged
start investigating.
Are bringing their elderly parents in. Rather than the elderly person just coming to you and say, hey, I need to sort this out.
Oh, no, never get that.
You never get that?
No.
Yeah.
No, it's because you start to notice the work that's involved of helping your parents and how reliable they're becoming on you and the time it takes and just how it affects your life and the time it takes you away from your job. And you got to say, you know what I mean? It's just so much. You start to realize how much work there is caring for someone. Yeah. So you start to realize, I need some help. How do we do this? What's the best way to do this? Yeah.
And the other thing is that, a lot of doctors are probably migrants. Yeah. And that planning stage across different countries, I mean, that's another huge topic.
I was about to say that, coming to this country, not understanding this financial system here.
Yeah. Whether it's that, they brought their parents over here or their parents are back home in their country of origin. And how as a child here, you can look after your parents there in retirement. That just gets hugely complicated.
Oh, then you're dealing with, international law and what have you, and currency risk and all those types of things.
Yeah.
So that's a massive minefield, that one.
Yeah.
But again, I've noticed a lot of the doctors we're dealing with, they bring their parents here anyway. They bring them.
Yeah.
They end up coming across here.
Some of them don't like it though.
I know. Why wouldn't you love it here? But anyway.
Yeah.
A lot of Indians I see bring their parents over, and it's quite. They're very, very loyal, the Indians, to their parents. Probably more so than everyone else, I feel. That's very much their culture. So is the Asian culture, I guess. But I've really noticed with the Indian culture just how much it is their job to look after the parents. I suppose the Asians are the same too. But I suppose everyone really. But I've really noticed it with the Indian people.
Yeah. And obviously there's always be one child that is a designated person. You find.
It takes responsibility.
Yeah, or takes responsibility. Yeah, or others that's designated or more responsible. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
But as a Chinese person, they've had a whole generation of single child. So that's another.
So that's buck stops with you, buddy.
Buck stops with you. Yeah. So. There's lots of complexities to that, and how we can assist people into doing that. I haven't seen a great solution for that.
No, I really can't answer that in a nutshell right now. But everything's a case by case, and again, if it's out of our scope of expertise, we'll be able to find someone who can deal in that area, because there are specialists. I know of. I do listen to the IFA, which is our industry podcast. Specifically for advisors. And there's one guy that I heard that I didn't know. He dealt with I can't remember his name, but he deals with. I think he sort of trades off his skill sets of international advice. Not that he goes looking for it. It's just that he's had ex-military or ex-politicians, wherever, be posted overseas and what have you, and can sort of deal with their advice while they're living over there. Because he understands some of the laws over there, but except from America. He said America's...
America, you cannot touch that.
Get away from America.
It's a bloody mess.
No, keep away from America.
Because as an Australian citizen, as an American citizen, you're taxed on your global earning, even though you're not in America.
Yeah.
And they've got some crazy tax rules.
The UK is good.
Yeah, UK is very good. Oh, and the other question is that there would have been a number of doctors that have come from the UK, and they still have... pensions.
A lot of people, most of the people, because their super system works very much like a defined benefit scheme, where the more years that you work and pay your tax, that gives you an entitlement to a pension, and it's transferable. Because I have quite a few clients who are actually domiciled from UK, came from UK, and they've still got bits of pensions dripping in. As well as the Australian pension and what have you. And it is assessed through Centrelink and what have you, but it still works out fine. No, it's really good.
Yeah, so I guess that's the other avenue where having someone like yourself would be useful.
There is. There is knowing the what they call QROPS, which is the UK pensions, knowing a bit about that. Again, that's a specialist area, but it's all comes down to super. So you can transfer it across here, but a lot of the clients I've got are just still.
I heard it's quite complicated.
Yeah, it is. That's the cure ops part. But a lot of them have just got just the pension just drip feeding in every now and again. You get a statement from Centrelink showing the exchange rate.
Yeah.
They do the conversion, they do the calculation. It's easy.
Yeah.
Because I have a login for a lot of my retired clients. I can see all their Centrelink entitlements and how it works. So I look after that for them too.
Yeah. Well, that's very interesting. I mean, it's a humongous topic, and I'm sure there's lots and lots of pitfalls and lots of tricky
financial
situations.
Advice is it's a lot to cover, as you would know. You're studying. That's why as I said, I like to explain it like, what do we do? We're like architects. We create these structures and these houses, and flows of money and what have you, and ownership, but architecturally structure things. And that encompasses, like, if you go back to the analogy of a house, a bedroom's different to a bathroom, a kitchen's different to a laundry. It's all different needs in those different areas that require you to have that experience and understanding of how to deal with those, or how to build that type of room, if you will. So it's why it takes, since I started getting the grey hair, clients start to take more notice because they realise that you're experienced, because there's a lot in it. And having experience is valuable. I mean, in any field.
Yeah.
But I've realised after 25 years, like, there's a lot of experience there and a lot of hard work that's gone into it, but it's well worth it, and now it's valuable.
Yeah.
And you sort of
we got you at the right time.
Yeah, you sort of discount yourself. I mean, everyone does it. You discount yourself, like, oh wow, I know a lot more than I think I know.
Yeah.
Or you doubt yourself, and all of a sudden, hang on a second, it's just human nature.
Yeah. So I guess to wrap up this series, I'm just gonna do a bit of a summary, and I think you'll agree with me on this. Is that I think at every stage of life, from the moment you start earning to even the end of life, there is a role for a financial advisor. The scope and the intensity of that could be very sort of different depending on your needs at different times. I mean, obviously, someone early in the career, you probably need some, low touch, a couple of interactions to get your insurance stuff settled, and then when you get to a stage where you have cash flow for investment, and your family unit becomes more complex, the structures get more complex, your investment get more complex. That's really where the additional value you see from having a financial planner really kicks off. And that sort of mid-career, there's just so many aspects, not just yourself, your parents, your children, and just to think about all of those things.
Yeah, just an example, when we have to provide advice through statement of advice, as you're well aware, all the clients who've got advice know that. The legislation states you have to do, you initially do a statement of advice for the early beginning part of your life, or wherever you're at, or the earlier part. And as you have significant life changes throughout your life, you have to do another statement of advice, because usually what we do in subsequent from the SOA, the statement of advice, the initial financial plan, we do what we call a record of advice. If we're just making a few tweaks to your portfolio, do insurance, and we just it's like 20 pages. So it's just, and it comes off the back of that statement of advice. But when you get to significant changes in your life, like divorce, married, baby, death, that's when you'll have significant life change. The legislation says when someone happens to your client, that's when you got to do a new statement of advice, because everything in their world changes. So that original piece of advice is probably no longer valid, because it's unexpected, not maybe unexpected if you're planning children, but it's a massive life-changing event that will significantly could potentially change your path and your outlook on life. Well, yeah. So we need to reassess that and start again.
Yeah.
So that's why. And that's what happens. We potentially get married. We potentially qualified in whatever field we're in, or graduate, or whatever you want to call it. Potentially take on a huge debt for a home. Potentially get married, kids, midlife, putting the kids through school. So it's constant. It's constant, and not cradle, but cradle to grave type of thing. So
yeah.
So it is a constant thing, and I always liken it to remember the old family GP?
Yeah.
It's the same sort of thing.
Yeah, before money.
Yeah, they're where you take your baby there when they're young, and you'll probably stick with them because you know them, you trust them, unless they retire, like mine is. But So no, look, it's
You almost have to have a succession planning in the practice.
Well, we do, as you know.
Yes.
This practice will be around for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And glad to be on the journey with you.
Absolutely. You too. Yeah, me too. Yeah. No, that's very exciting. And I'm very happy with this adventure with looking after docs. Predominantly, I was looking after, as I said, accumulators and retirees. I had some professionals in there of, your solicitors and barristers and what have you, and a couple of doctors here and there.
Yeah.
But now specialising in, with the help of you, giving me some insight into their life cycle for their education and what have you, their interns, and then you got your registrars, and I don't really know anything about that. So So it's good that I'm learning a lot of that from you too, and we're learning a lot of each other. So it's really, really fun. It's really good.
It's a great journey so far.
Yeah, no, it is good. And like I said, we've got Ashley, who we'll all meet down the track, a new partner in the business.
Yep.
And we're going to grow the business.
Beautiful. All right. Now, I'm just going to conclude and thank you we've done all these 3 episodes in one sitting. So
I think
you're probably sick of me now. we got most things up, but we
I don't think there's anything I could think of at the moment.
A few more topics for next time. But,
again, there's those little avenues we can go down. Which can get quite complex and tricky. Yeah. But we'll deal with that when we might have maybe some visuals. Yeah. Some charts or something.
Next time. We'll print them out or put them on the screen.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Lovely to have you as always, Roger. And we'll hope to see you again.
You will do. Bye.
This podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. The information and opinions shared are not intended as personal financial advice. The content presented should not be relied upon for making financial, investment, or other decisions. Listeners are strongly encouraged to seek the advice of qualified financial or legal professionals before making any financial decisions. While we aim to provide valuable and accurate information, we make no guarantees regarding the completeness or accuracy of the content. Any reliance on the information provided is done at your own risk.